Hi, everybody. I'm Debby Montgomery Johnson, founder of the nonprofit The Woman Behind the Smile, and your host of Stand Up and Speak Up, a show that is about each and every one of us. Many of us have something we're hiding, something we're ashamed of, something not through no fault of our own or through our own making we keep hidden, and that in turn keeps us hidden from each other and the world. Good people go through terrible situations. Wise people know when and how to let it go. Everything that happens to us helps us grow, and while it may be hard to see it right away, the most important thing to do is to change your perception about your circumstances. Regardless of what your personal experiences or traumas have been, this showcase series is designed to ignite the light in you, as well as providing safe harbor, education, personal growth, and resources so that no matter where you are on your journey, you'll have the courage to move on when you're ready. Stand Up and Speak Up features ordinary people who've been through extraordinary situations and struggles and found the courage to step out from behind their smiles and speak up about their experiences and the lessons gleaned from those experiences. Everybody heals at a different pace, and we recognize that. So come on in, have a listen, and enjoy the ride at your own speed. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are today. It is a beautiful day in paradise, and again, I'd love to say that to my Canadian friends, because in Florida today it is sunny and gorgeous. So welcome, everybody, to another Stand Up and Speak Up show. Today I'm really excited because we talk about going on a journey, and my friend and guest today is going to take you on your own giant journey through her life and through what she's doing today. Spryte Loriano is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm so excited that she's visiting with me today from Ecuador. So, Miss Spryte, are you there?
I am here. Ecuador says hello. Good morning.
Good morning. A bright and early morning for our awakening giant in Ecuador. So, Spryte, thank you so much for being here. You and I have spoken in the past, and I've got to kind of fill in everybody on how you and I met, because it's been a couple of years now, and it all came from saying yes, me saying yes, to Trish Carr and Women's Prosperity Network. And Trish and I had gone out to California for the California Women's Conference, which I had become a speaker in their speak-off. And Trish later on said, you know what, I'm doing this thing called change makers. And she goes, I'm going to San Diego. You want to go? I'm thinking, well, why not? And that's when I first got introduced to you. So, Miss Spryte, tell me who you are. I mean, I could give your bio. Everybody go to LinkedIn and look up Spryte, S-P-R-Y-T-E, Loriano. And she's a visionary, humanitarian, executive producer, creator now of Awakening Giants, creative mystics, I love this one, soulmate to Barnaby, or Bubby, obsessed with high vibrational living. She's an amazing woman that has done so many things. And bios, you know, I think when I hear a bio, my own bio, I'm thinking, well, that's not really me. And it is, but the real you, I want to hear who the real Spryte is. So tell me in your own words, who's Spryte Loriano?
Wow, that's a good question. So I am a lover of God. I'm a lover of God, the creative, infinite, beloved Father, and this amazing universe and nature. I am somebody who is just super passionate about seeing humanity awaken to its full potential. I have been on this incredible path of awakening as long as I can remember, since I was a little girl, seeing angels at my bed, seeing flits of light and realizing, there's just something more than what everyone seems to be talking about. There seems to be this incredible other universe, and that is enfolded with the physical that we can see and this holographic universe. So I am a student of life. I'm a student of the mystical, and I am just a lover of seeing our greatest potential happen. And you mentioned humanitarian. I'm mostly known as a humanitarian. It's been my work mostly for the last about 15 years. And for me, that is just, it's a gift. I mean, it's just an absolute gift to be able to to serve others and be taught through helping others, and taught about my own shortcomings, my own ways that I get to grow and stretch and learn and be all that I can be. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, and I know you, and I see those all the time. Where did you grow up, Spryte? You were here in the States?
Yeah, so I'm from Milwaukee originally, and moved when I was 18, went to California. That was my dream. I was in California for 20 years. I've lived a lot of places, and I've lived, kind of all over the U.S., and then I moved to Africa, and now I'm here in Ecuador. So, I love experiencing new places, new people and cultures, and learning as much as I can about life.
Did you get that from your folks, or has come around over the years?
No, I did not get that from my folks. Well, I guess a part of it, let me take that back. Part of it, yes. I think I have a wanderlust because I was raised by a single mom who raised 6 of us. I was the baby, and she always had to move us a lot to keep finding jobs that paid her more money. And so I moved every year or every 2 years my entire life until I was in high school. And then she was able to keep me, in one place for high school, which was great. So I think that was kind of ingrained in me early on, actually, just, to just be moving around and meeting new people. I had to, out of, necessity, meet new people and make new friends. And so that taught me something.
When my kids were little, and we moved 11 times in 10 years. And I remember the one thing I wanted to do was to paint a room something other than white when I finally got a house, because it meant I wasn't going to be moving. And it was good for the kids because, like you said, you were able to make new friends, but there was no roots. And I don't know, did you trust your mom at that point? Did she make it an adventure, or was it not a good thing?
No, it was, at the time, I didn't like it. At the time, I fought it. Every single time we had to move, I would kick and scream and cry, and no, I don't want to move, and then, you deal with it, and it's fine, and sometimes it's not fine. I mean, in 8th grade, it wasn't fine. I had a new school during, that's a really critical year, right? 8th grade is like 13, 14. And I had a horrible year. Like it was the first, and I have to say it wasn't the last time that I thought about committing suicide, because it was so horrible, and I ended up not having any friends. And so, so I think it actually taught me so much about my resilience and my ability to just keep moving on and not giving up. And those are qualities that I am proud of that I have today. But those were forged in me for sure.
And you went on to great things. You went on to university and you were valedictorian from a school, and you were awarded, we're reading here on your LinkedIn profile that you were awarded the Small Press Publisher of the Year for niche marketing talents. I mean, you were living large.
Yeah, well, I've always, so I'm an overachiever. And that's, overachieving usually comes from someone who actually has a low self-esteem. And, I was trained as an emotional trauma therapist because of diving into my own personal development, spiritual development, discovering, needing to discover, the parts of me that led me down roads that were really challenging and difficult. And that's where I discovered that. I'm like, I always used to think that overachieving thing was was, a good thing. And then I realized, it's actually covering up your low self-esteem, Spryte. But the good news is that once we recognize those traits in ourselves, then, we can do something about it. Overachieving is something that I have, it's been my lifelong lesson. And there's good things that come from it. I've created a lot of impact, and I've also had a lot of hardships because of it.
Well, the impact is because you think big. You think really big, and encourage other folks to do that. I mean, I know when I was with you guys, I was in awe of the incredible people that I was surrounded with, and you and Robin were leading this group. Let's go one thing. We're going to go up to California, so visualize our San Diego adventure up on the mountaintop at the challenge course. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What was your greatest challenge out of that? And greatest joy, if you had one?
Greatest challenge and greatest joy. Well, the greatest joy is the easier one for me, so I'll say that one first. So the greatest joy and why I do what I do is seeing the ahas happen for others, and it is so rewarding to see people discover, bits of courage, discover they can go further, they can go, farther than they thought they could. Breaking through limiting beliefs, things that are holding them back. It's just, it's exciting. It's just exciting. That's that human spirit and potential in us all. I love it when, those, I get to see demonstrations of that human potential. So, and even, as big or small, that it happens in so many ways. So that's the joy. And the greatest challenge for me is always when I take people through these types of adventures is dealing with so many different types of personalities and each person's journey and the things that come up for them that sometimes get, projected into the group and things like that. Being that present vessel that can support people through that. And so it's one of the reasons, again, that I do this. I do it for me to be able to constantly teach myself how to be more present, how to have more compassion, and finding places of my own courage.
Well, I was talking with my husband the other day, and he has a fairly large company, and we were talking about human resources, and he goes, all my children. It's all my children. So sometimes all my children that are not your biological children are really difficult because you have to have that extra empathy. And when you're leading these groups around, you're the parent of this group, and I can imagine that there are those personality conflicts, meshes, excitement. There's a whole lot of emotion wrapped up in those things. But for me, that was the experience of, the Tinkerbell moment is the way I call it, climbing that pole and jumping and catching that trapeze. That was my Tinkerbell moment, and that is in me forever. And that is, excuse me, the one thing that I am so grateful for that experience was that just jumping and being willing to just put yourself out there and jump and take a risk, take a chance. Calculated, but take a chance and know that I wasn't thinking about the harness behind me, but we all do have a harness behind us at some point, and it could be the divine, it could be a person or whatever. But if we don't jump and take that chance to do something different, we're never going to move on. So you've done a lot of jumping in your life, and I know you said you moved a lot, but what was your vision behind what we're doing now? Awakening Giants Changemakers. What was your vision, and when did that come to you?
Back in 2008, I was part of co-founding an organization called Humanity Unites Brilliance, and we brought social entrepreneurs together from around the world to really do one thing, and that was to, and I say one thing even though it sounds like two, transform our own selves as we impact and transform the world. And I believe that's actually one thing, because it's really like it has to start with us, right? We all hear be the change, but like for real, we have to be that change in order to see change happen outside of us. And so I love the combination of what I started doing back then, which was taking our members around the world to experience the impact that they were making with their donation dollars every single month into the organization, and giving them the opportunity to get out of their own comfort zone, out of, sometimes it's like being in our own home, our community, our family, even our country is a space of comfort. And when we move out of our comfort zones and put ourselves in situations that we don't know, like we don't know the culture, we don't know the language, we might be seeing extreme poverty, we are being called to find deeper spaces within ourselves of compassion and service. And so it really started back then. It was back then that I knew that would make a really exciting, entertaining, and transformational kind of TV show. And I'm a person who doesn't have a TV. I haven't had one since 1980 something. But I love movies. I love film. I love inspiring stories. I love the hero's journey. And so I knew that, we could really inspire people through a media project that was focusing on people who were willing to, take that step and show their authentic journey of transformation. And that's what became Awakening Giants, what we're launching now. And there's so much more I can talk about.
So who's involved in Awakening Giants?
Awakening Giants is aspiring and veteran leaders. People who most are entrepreneurs. They're healers, coaches, financial experts, trainers, transformational leaders, authors, speakers, trainers, humanitarians, people who are committed to making a difference on the planet, to helping and serving others. And they come from all walks of life. Our youngest giant on set was 18. Our oldest giant, I believe, is 76 or 77. And everything in between, from all different countries. And the one thing that we all have in common is we know we have a purpose to make the world a better place.
And it's one person at a time. But it is an amazing ripple effect, and I think that comes from Sammy's ripple effect.
Yeah.
For me, flying to San Diego, I had a couple of girls from Florida that I was out there with. I knew them, but was instantly in the UN. We had England. We had a couple of girls from England, and girls from all over the place. And then you guys had come in, and folks had been in there from Ecuador, and it was just amazing to me. But the people that we met from that week went on to be collaborative events in Europe and in the islands and in, India. Just an amazing experience. And I'm sitting there going, I'm this young at heart, grew up in a small town in Vermont, and now the last time we were together, we were sitting in India and looking at, this is before the pandemic, and looking at, for me, probably the most unusual experience in my life. I mean, I've traveled around the world too, but the cultural experience of being in India was sensory overload for me. But
I love India. I can't wait to go back.
It was incredible, yeah. and I talk to India every week because my IT team is in India. But the meeting of I was so taken by the women and the educated women that we met. They're running hospitals and all sorts of organizations. But then on the other hand, you've got women that are oppressed and in small villages, and the violence that is perpetrated against them is just incredible. So it opened my eyes because, we all live in our own little bubble, and I think so protected. And that's what I think is amazing about you and some of my other guests who have spent a lot of time overseas, living overseas, is that you see life from a different perspective.
Yeah, and I think, you also mentioned this thing about collaboration. I think this is a really important piece of Awakening Giants, and that specific trip you're talking about to India was the Women's Economic Forum, and that happened through one of our giants, Dee Wong, who opened the door to us to actually be able to have the Women's Economic Forum as part of our next season, which got thwarted, because of the pandemic. The thing that I love about what we're doing with Awakening Giants is that collaboration that happens, that you're able to, those, people that, giants that come and are part of the location shoots, they go so deep with each other in such a short period of time, authentic, real, and raw experiences, that they come out of that going, I want to partner with you. Like, if I'm going to partner with anybody, it's going to be somebody that I've just had this amazing experience with and has had my back, on a pole or has, that I've been able to raise money with, and someone who has seen me, break down and get back up, and it really does create a real sense of safety. And so we've had lots of amazing partnerships happen, just like what you were saying.
So how do you choose the locations you're going to?
I always laugh about that because God always chooses them. I've never chosen a single one. It really happens through absolute divine intervention, where I'm literally like reading a book, and then, all of a sudden the next day, something that I read in the book all of a sudden pops up here, and then I get a phone call, and then it's literally like following breadcrumbs is how I put location shoots together. Which is a lot more than just going, let's go to Bali, or, let's go here, or, because, there's a lot of places to go in the world, but what this is really about is it's a journey that we create, and I have to say, I don't have the skill set to create that kind of epic journey. The divine is what creates that epic journey through us. And so literally what I know and what I guarantee people when they come on these experiences is it is an experience of a lifetime. And that is because of the incredible, there's usually 4 really incredible things that happen, that we do, that provide people these really unique experiences that they just can't get by going and booking a tour somewhere. Or it's just, that's it, it's way beyond that, and you can attest to that.
Yeah, you have a purpose, and for us it was the wolf connection, which was extraordinary. And explain some of the causes or the organizations that you've participated with during the experiences.
Yeah, so in our pilot season, we had 4 location shoots on 4 continents. the one that you went to was the San Diego shoot, and we worked there with the Wolf Connection, which was just, beyond amazing experience to be able to be taught by wolves. I'm super excited because people will actually, when they come to our 3-day event that's happening in October, they're actually going to get to have part of that experience virtually being taught by wolves. It's just something that was, amazing. Most of these wolves are actually rescued from people that take them out of the wild, like when they're babies, and they think that they can grow them to be domesticated animals, and they end up being very abused, usually, and not good situations. And so most of these wolves are rescues, and they're actually used to take at-risk youth through incredible empowerment programs and literally keeping them out of jail through helping them to discover the different characteristics that it takes to be successful being in a wolf pack. We, in Ecuador, brought clean water to 11 villages. Clean water is something I'm super, super passionate about. So everywhere actually we go that we can affect, impact people with clean water, we do, whether it's our main focus or whether it's a side focus. And in Africa, in Liberia, West Africa, we worked with former child soldiers. We did empowerment programs, educational programs. We brought clean water. So, yeah, we've done a lot in just our pilot season.
You ended up, you lived in Liberia. What took you to Liberia?
Yeah, so I met an incredible human being by the name of Kimmy Weeks. His organization, Youth Action International, has helped over 200,000 people in Africa, but he literally was, at the age of 11, started getting on the radio in Liberia during the Civil War, and started telling everyone about the child soldiers that were being used, and that leaked out to the Associated Press. And President Taylor, who was the president of Liberia at the time, discovered that he was telling on him, and tried to kill him, and searched for him for years and was trying to kill him. And Kimmy was finally rescued out of the country, smuggled out of the country, and brought to the U.S., where he created Youth Action International. And he's been just a powerful, award-winning child rights activist who's been a very close mentor and friend of mine for many, many years. So when I had the opportunity of going to Liberia, I fell in love with it within seconds, because I had never to meet people who have gone through such a heinous civil war, and to have to turn around after they've literally lost everything, like can't go to school. I mean, we just went through a pandemic where you can't go to the store, you can't go to school, you can't do anything, right? So we know now like how that is, but imagine that times like 100 that happens in a civil war, where literally everything's taken away from you. And then to, when it's over, to turn around and have to forgive your neighbor who killed a family member, and find a way to have peace, is something that that inspired me to the depths of my being. And I knew I had way more to learn from these people than I could ever give to them. And so that inspired me to bring, I had finally moved there in 2013 to bring leadership and mindset principles, success mindset principles to teachers, post-war teachers there. But before I moved there, I had been there 11 times and brought, like, I don't know, at least eight different groups of people there because it's such a powerful learning experience, especially for, I think, Americans.
Well, it's interesting. My guest last week was Kathy Cray, and Kathy is very involved with children and African orphans in Uganda. And then a couple other gals, they've worked with children in Kenya, and it all comes down to they feel like they got the call. They got a call to there. Their purpose was driven to take them there for the children, because you can change a generation by changing the children. And I'm looking at Kimmy's picture. Kimmy is going to be one of the speakers on your virtual journey. Can you talk about that a little bit? I want to make sure people know how to find out about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually launching the first episodes of our pilot season for Awakening Giants through a virtual, experiential 3 days called A Giant's Journey. It's October 8th, 9th, and 10th, and it's a free event, so everyone can watch and participate live in our private group, private community in Facebook for Awakening Giants. And probably 25 or so of our giants who were location stars that are training on our 3 pillars of what it takes to be an awakening giant, which is courage, compassion, and commitment. So those 3 days we will be diving deep, exploring aspects of courage, compassion, and commitment in our own life to be able to transform what it is that, is just still in the way of our, of our waking to that next level, that next edge for our own life, and for ourselves as leaders. I think every single person that's listening to this is a leader, can be a leader, and part of Awakening Giants is really about helping to demystify leadership, recognizing that we are all leaders, whether we're leaders of our family, community, or in the world, and what are the things that that hold us back from that. So we'll be diving deep into those things, connecting with each other, and and having a lot of fun. As I said, the wolves will be joining us to teach us in the event as well. Kimmy Weeks will be there as well as our giants, and we'll be doing some interviews as well with some of our giants, our founding members in the organization who've really helped to bring everything forward. So, it's going to be an incredible 3 days. And then on the 10th, we're actually going to be sharing our first episode with everyone who's part of the event. So they'll be the absolute first people that finally get to see Awakening Giants, which has been 5 years in the making.
Well, it's been an amazing journey for you up and down, and I'm looking at the website announcing A Giant's Journey.
Click that link to get access to register.
Okay. Well, it's going to be amazing, and I'm looking at the things that are going on. I'm like, yesterday I got an email about it. I'm like, I want to get in on this. I said, you are in on it. You're speaking. So it is really amazing, and it's like, who am I? And I don't have enough, and what am I supposed to do? Well, those are all questions we all ask, and I know that people listening to this show have big hearts, and they want to be able to share and care, and totally in alignment with what you and the group are doing, Spryte.
Well, and what's cool about, and that's the other piece that I'm super excited about with the 3-day event, is that just by participating, people can also upgrade to be live with us on Zoom and be part of breakout rooms and one-on-one coaching sessions and things like that with the Giants, like much more interactive. And when someone upgrades, they're able to be part of our Giant Impact Fund. So literally 10% of their upgrade cost goes into our Impact Fund. We've already raised over $100,000 for the pilot season, so they'll get to be a part of that. And if they upgrade into being a VIP ambassador, they are literally providing 100 people with clean water for 10 years. It is about impact. It is about us coming together and doing those two things, transforming ourselves and transforming the world at the same time.
How can people get a hold of you, Spryte, if they would like to get involved in Awakening Giants?
Yeah, well, they can go to awakeninggiants.tv, so awakeninggiants.tv, and click sign up. And they will be on our newsletter then, and they'll get a welcome email, and that welcome email will connect them immediately into our private Awakening Giants community on Facebook. And there'll be a link in that welcome email. And so that is the best way for them to get connected in, and then so they can also join our 3-day event through that community Facebook group, and as well as through the link that you're going to provide them on the replay. But that's another way. And yeah, that's probably the best way for them to get a hold of me. And I'm on Facebook. I'm the only Spryte Loriano that there is on Facebook. So
and LinkedIn.
You can find me.
And. Absolutely. It's very interesting. And like I said, I'm looking at the event in October, and it's terrific because it says, what potential is still asleep inside of you? Let's wake it up. And then it says, explore the 3 pillars of being an awakening giant, and it's courage, compassion, and commitment, the 3 C's that are so very strong. And we all have it in us. We all have it within us to take that jump. And I'm finding, too, as we do that, we say yes to things, it puts us around such wonderful people, like-minded, like-hearted. So thank you for all you're doing. Thank you, Spryte, for all you're doing, and for all the awakening giants in the world that have awoken or want to awake. Go to awakeninggiants.tv, and then I'll have the link to the show October 8th, 9th, and 10th. And it's a giant's journey. It's amazing. So, Spryte, thank you for being my guest. Thank you for coming to us from Ecuador. Thank you for all you're doing around the world, and God bless you. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Stand Up and Speak Up. We are dedicated to encouraging you to remove the mask of embarrassment and to being your best self. This episode has been sponsored by BenfoComplete.com, a vitamin supplement company that supports happy and healthy hands and feet for those with neuropathy. If you or anyone you know struggles with the pins and needles and numbness in their hands and feet, check out our benfotiamine products at BenfoComplete.com and use the special code STANDUP for 5% discount on your purchase. Again, thanks, everybody, for being with us today. Go to my website, thewomanbehindthesmile.com, for additional information and resources. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and enjoy the replays of this show and all the other great shows we've had. Have a super day, everybody. And again, Spryte, thanks so very much. Appreciate you.